Head back safe.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Daniel, and I'm a cyclist currently living in China. Today we're going to be doing a 2.5 hour endurance loop around the district that I live in. And I wanted to talk to you guys in this vlog about the biggest struggle I've had since leaving my career path. So I was a PhD chemist, spent 13 years working in research labs, and a week after I finished my PhD, instead of going into industry or moving on to a postdoc to go eventually become a professor, I quit the whole thing. I decided it wasn't going to be the thing that was going to give me the most satisfaction in life. I wasn't happy doing what I was doing. Big impetus to this was the pandemic, because I almost quit during the pandemic, and then I finished my PhD in 2022. And yeah, so graduated. A week later, my wife and I are building out a cargo trailer into an RV, and we traveled the country for 2 years in the United States. And a lot of problems came about because of ditching the career path, and they weren't financial problems. Some of the biggest problems when you no longer have an employer is you're responsible for your routine. You're responsible for what every single minute of every single day looks like. And if you're not used to that amount of freedom, your time can go by really quick and be wasted. And I think a lot of people can empathize with that, of struggling to find a routine. I mean, when you're employed, at least 8 hours out of your day are kind of taken care of. You know where you need to be, you know generally what you need to be doing, and depending on the type of work that you do, you either don't have to really think very much about your routine during the day and planning your day at work, or you do have to think about it quite a bit because you have a lot of leeway and freedom about how you go about your day at work. But there's like a switch. You've got the work routine and you've got the home routine. And when you're working those hours, you only have to really concern yourself with your home life, 2 hours before work and maybe 3 hours after work before you go to bed, maybe 4. That's not a lot of time that you really have to manage your day. You know, you're looking forward to the weekends and you're managing your time on your weekends. And don't get me wrong, it's very hard to manage time when working 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, because you have a lot of other life pursuits and responsibilities that get in the way of you doing things that you want to do. So you really have to be on top of stuff. But it's a completely different struggle when there's no one telling you what you're supposed to be doing every minute of every day for the next foreseeable future. You have to be responsible for it yourself, and it takes a lot of energy and effort to actually establish those routines, and a lot of discipline. Some of us naturally have that type of discipline, and some of us don't. We have to work at it, and I'm one of those people that has to work at it. I'm a very organized person, but when it comes to managing my time, I'm not very disciplined about it. I'm a lot more intuitive and instinctual when it comes to how I'm using my time. Maybe that means I'm impulsive. So we went to the extremes of having to manage time because we lived off-grid for 2 years. So every day you're in reaction mode. You're reacting to, do I have power today? Do I have water today? Do I have a way to use the bathroom today? Can I stay here tonight? Do I need to move? Am I going to get a knock on the door in the middle of the night telling me, hey, you can't be here? So there's a lot of stress, and that puts you in a reactionary mindset. Now that we live in China, it's a little bit different. We don't have those sorts of stressors and reactionary mindsets in that regard, because we live in an apartment. We know we're allowed to be there. The water's always going to turn on, the toilet's always going to flush. Don't have to worry about that. But that finally frees you up to have some larger pursuits and goals. And yet we still struggled and are still struggling to find routine. One thing that's really helpful, and what I think can help a lot of other people out there, and why I wanted to talk about this today, is that having a structure training, whether that's running because you want to run a marathon, whether that's you want to be go do a triathlon, or whether it's just you want to road race, get into shape, lose some weight. Cycling, for me, has been a huge game changer. Cycling has given me a goal each week of hours on the bike to hit, or training stress score to hit. And to be able to plan that out, I know exactly what I need to be doing every single day of the week. I can look back at the data and I can see the small wins, I can see the big wins. And that's very, very helpful if you're struggling with routine, because you can find your why, you can find your purpose. Even though it's not some grand change the world purpose, it doesn't matter, because it gives you a grounding. It gives you a foothold and control over at least one aspect of your life. And once you feel like you're in somewhat of a control of your life, you can really go about some bigger things in life. So I'd highly recommend, if you're cycling for weight loss, or just a recreational cyclist and you're struggling with routine and purpose, I really, really would recommend getting a training plan that you can follow and have that built into your schedule. Whether that means you need to get a training coach, a cycling coach, and have someone manage it for you, because that's a really, really nice, easy way to do it. And there's a lot of resources out there to do it. I'd recommend looking at something like Training Peaks to start with. Or you can kind of manage and figure out some things on your own. In which case I'd recommend taking a look at intervals.icu, which is completely free and what I use for managing my own training. Now, we got a tricky intersection up here, so I'm going to have to pay attention to this one. Okay. There's some like village or buildings on the very, very tip of that mountain in front of us here. I'd really like to know how they get up there, where the road is, because the only roads I know are either that way or that way. There's nothing that goes straight on up there. Because if there were, I probably would climb it. You know, something I'm realizing while talking to you guys here is that I haven't been very kind to myself in the past. And I think a lot of us can relate to this. I think we're our own worst critic, and we're really harsh on ourselves. And we don't give ourselves enough credit for how far we've come and the challenges that we've had to overcome. We always kind of look outward and say, oh yeah, but look at how much they've achieved. You know, look at how perfect their life is. Look at how put together they are. So, you know, we do too much comparison to other people. Just because one person had to overcome some really, really horrible stuff in their life doesn't degrade the stuff that you or I have had to overcome in our life. And that's something I think I've struggled with putting into perspective. It's always on to the next thing. And I think this all ties back together to struggling to find routine. You know, if you're in a slump, it's very easy to get very hard on yourself about, oh, I can't get up early, I'm not accomplishing things, I'm not getting my day going till 10 o'clock. You know, why can't I do this? And you start trying to point fingers at all the things either you or someone around you is doing that's causing it to be that way. And that's the reason why you're so bad about getting a routine in and getting things accomplished. And instead, I think you just need to be like, you know what? Look at how much I have been able to achieve under these circumstances. I have been able to brush my teeth every morning. I know it sounds silly to point to something so mundane and simple, but it's self-care. And exercising is self-care. I guess what I'm trying to say is be kind to yourself. If you're struggling right now with finding a routine, it's okay. We've all been there. A lot of us still are there, and we're struggling too. But you can also start taking little steps towards building a routine that you can keep. And it might not be the biggest thing in the world. It might be just hopping on the bike for 30 minutes every morning. But that small thing can really give you some control and lead to bigger things for yourself. So be kind. Start small. Okay, therapy session's over. Let's talk about some bike stuff here. So this is the first day that I'm able to wear shorts riding outside all winter, and I feel really naked. It's surprising how comfortable you end up feeling wearing long pants, or in my case, overpants, and then you take them off. It's like, wait, okay, yes, I am wearing something, all right. Still a little under the weather, and some guys that I cycled with last week, we did 148K with 1,500 meters elevation gain through. Oh, guys, the most beautiful ride. We go through the reservoir where Beijing gets most of its water, and then down into this gorge that has like dinosaur footprints and petrified wood. It's a very big seasonal attraction. If it was in the US, it'd probably be a national park. But I think I wasn't quite yet ready for that ride. My norm for rides is like 3 to 4 hours, usually endurance. That's like where my body is adapted to at the moment. And that was a 5.5 hour ride. These boys, they're strong. These two guys that I rode with, they're probably about 80 kilo. I'm 67 kilo. And on the flats, man, they can hammer. And they don't think that they're hammering, but their FTP has to be at like 300, over 300 watts. So they just leave me in the dust on the flats. My only hope was to catch the very rear of their wheels and just hang on for dear life. I mean, I could take them on the climbs. One of the guys was really strong rider, and he can keep up with me on the climbs for sure. Maybe on a longer climb I can get him, but I put out a lot of power that day. And 2 days prior, I had done my biggest ride ever to date of 126 kilometers, which was actually this endurance loop we're doing today 2 times. And I was feeling it after that ride, but I purposely did that. I wanted to push my norm upwards from that 3.5, 4 hours closer to that 5-hour mark. And you have to start doing those rides to achieve that. But then 2 days later, to up the ante and do twice the climbing and more time, more distance, with a lot more intensity, really stuck it to my Achilles. I could feel both of my Achilles and my calves hurting after that. We're actually reaching the entrance to that ride that I did with him last week. See if I can show you guys the climb here. So up over there, you can kind of see the switchbacks going all up. I don't think that's actually part of the climb that we did. The climb we did goes deeper in. Those switchbacks go up to an observatory, and that road is closed. I have seen on Strava some people have done it, but I'm pretty sure they've done it when the mountain guard is not present. Some of these areas have mountain guards to prevent people from going up into the mountains and starting campfires, and there being wildfires as a result. The lights are out on that street. Fueling today's ride with 60 grams of Hawthorne. Got a banana, 90 grams of carb in one of my bottles, and a bottle of water. Plus I had a little bit of lunch before we came out. A little bit of rice and some ham. So definitely feeling the ride. Probably won't go through all of this. It's just a 2.5 hour ride. But even for those shorter rides, guys, I try to make sure to fuel properly, get the most out of the ride. I can definitely tell, like, we just had a little bit of a small incline here, and all the way from the outside of my Achilles by the heel all the way up towards the knee on that outside back part. Just kind of I don't know, it's like inflammation or just a steady pain. It's not sharp, it's more dull, but it will come on quick and then dissipate. So I don't know if I tore something or if I'm just really tight and have some inflammation in there. Been trying to do recovery and rehab for it at night and in the morning, but I think it's gonna just take some time. This is definitely the worst part of this whole loop, is this little stretch here that goes through this smaller village. Because like I said in a previous video, everyone just kind of goes when they don't look. So you have to pay a lot of attention to everywhere around you. At least today they seem pretty tame. Maybe it's just not the busy part of the day yet. All right, we're gonna take a little pit stop here. You know, if some of you guys have struggled with this problem of developing a routine, let me know in the comments. Let me know, you know, if you've found a way of dealing with that. I don't think there's any one right or wrong way of trying to find something that works for you. And it's not an easy thing, you know. So it's okay if you're struggling. It's okay if I'm struggling. I'm more maybe talking to myself here, trying to give myself a pep talk that it's okay that I struggle with this, you know, some days, and that we have done a lot, and there's big things in store for the future, and just to keep reminding ourselves of that. If you guys like this type of vlog style content, I have some more of it going over on Patreon. There's some stuff that I just don't want to put on YouTube because I don't want to stir the controversy pot. That's not what I'm here for. But sometimes I gotta get some stuff off my chest, and so for that stuff or things I'm trying to digest, I'm gonna stick those over on Patreon. Kind of like every ride, I'm trying to do a short little piece to go over on Patreon that'll accompany the vlog that comes out at the same time on the same day. So they'll be free over on Patreon. It's just that's where I want it to live. So you're not gonna have to pay anything. You know, you can go over there and you can become a subscriber, a free member. There's other paid features over there, or if you want to support me, there's channels and ways of doing that over there. But honestly, just you being here watching this vlog, give me a like. Someone disliked one of my the sweet potato video. Someone disliked that. Well, what don't you like about sweet potatoes? Come on. So those likes actually help me because there's randos out there that dislike sweet potatoes. Yeah, so please like, and you can head over to the Patreon link down in the description for free, and we can chat over there as well. So I'll catch you guys on the next ride. Peace.